Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody in between. Jackie's Sports Show, and you were tuning into that very sports show. Hey, down there, I feel got my phone tilted up, looking up at me. I apologize for the camera angle. I promise I'm working on getting another webcam, so I don't have to keep relying on the iPhone to record the video. But how are y'all doing? How's the past couple days been? Tell you, it's been weird. It's been weird for me. I don't know why I'm saying that. Posted a video on TikTok that was very kind of therapeutic for me. I will say, there's a trend going around on TikTok where they play a Adventure Time song. That's kind of creepy. They play an Adventure Time song dedicated to the character Marceline, and it's kind of like a sadder thing. The caption is usually something along the lines of like, "Oh, my card declined at therapy, so my best friend who talks crap behind my back walks in," or whatever. I did that, and it was kind of therapeutic for me. Did it in relation to my sports journey, which I might open up about one of these days. If I don't have anything to talk about on a podcast and any podcast, I might tell my little journey of how sports was in my life, but it was therapeutic. And what's cool about it is the video caption was, your card declines at therapy, so the therapist turns on the 2023 NFL draft. That was my caption, and take that as you will. A lot of people take it as like, "Oh, my team draft bad," but I know what it's about. And yeah, it was cool. It was cool to make a video where people can have different interpretations of it. I usually, with sports content, you can't really, it doesn't lend itself to that, but I know a lot of people who make videos and have things that they post wherever, and they completely leave it up to interpretation. You take it how you will. And I get why people do that. And not only, for the big ones, say like the Markiplier's at the ending of Who Killed Markiplier, you get, a game theory video, or you get people talking about what your thing actually means, but like on a much smaller schedule. It's cool to see, you know what I mean? People aren't talking about like, "Oh, what's the deeper meaning behind this video?" But people are just taking it in their own way. That's pretty cool to see. But I apologize for that. Gonna talk pretty much NFL honors, Super Bowl 57, pretty straightforward. I'm going to give you my award winners, and of course talk about Super Bowl 57. At the end, we might talk about the WrestleMania press conference that is going on tonight, what might happen there. But for now, let's get into it. And of course, before that, make sure you always like, rate, and share, especially rating, especially sharing the show if you're on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share. I much appreciate it. I really don't like this camera angle that the phone is at, but I will fix that some other time. Like I said, I promise I'm trying to get a webcam. Let's get right into the NFL honors. So we got MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, Coach of the Year, and Comeback Player of the Year. Now, Defensive Player of the Year and Defensive Rookie of the Year were the hardest to me, right? MVP, it's pretty cut and dry who's going to win. Offensive Player of the Year, you can have a case between two guys, which we'll talk about. Offensive Rookie of the Year, it's really between two guys, and that's only because Arthur Smith didn't use Bijan Robinson like he should have. Coach of the Year, it's pretty runaway in my opinion. And Comeback Player of the Year, it's debated, but really there's only one guy that's going to win it. But with Defensive Rookie of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year, there are like 3 or 4 guys that definitely have a good case for it. Defensive Player of the Year, TJ Watt has a great case. Max Crosby has a great case. Myles Garrett has a great case. A lot of people like Micah Parsons. I don't think so. But TJ Watt, Max Crosby, and Myles Garrett, I would see video after video after video. You could probably see 6 videos, and each of them have a different Defensive Player of the Year, and all of them are valid. So that was rough. And also Defensive Rookie of the Year, a lot of people like Kobe Turner. A lot of people like Devin Witherspoon, like myself. Of course, we'll get into it. A lot of people like Jalen Carter. A lot of people like Will Anderson Jr. There's so many guys that could win Defensive Rookie of the Year and be valid. And it makes it fun, right? That actually makes a lot of a difference. I'm moving my pop filter down a little bit. I hope it doesn't affect the audio that much, but it makes a world of difference because you can actually see my face. But yeah, Defensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year was rough. It was very rough picking. I did end up picking them. And let's just get into it. And let's get into the less sexy ones first. Let's kind of work our way up. Comeback Player of the Year. I think Damar Hamlin is winning Comeback Player of the Year. Now, it is a debate. I hate when people try to take this moral high ground of like, well, he died on the field. True. But he played 10 snaps, most of those being on special teams. I get that he died on the field, and I get that even playing after that is incredible, right? But to sit here and act like guys like Baker Mayfield, who was tossed out of Cleveland in favor of old happy endings, and tossed out of Carolina because he wasn't working, and the short-tempered David Temper over there, and then goes to the Rams and has one good game and then kind of flatlines, and then finds a home in Tampa, leads Tampa Bay to not only a division title in which everybody thought they would lose the division, be fourth place in the division, but a playoff appearance, not only a playoff appearance and a division win, but a playoff win against the Eagles. So to sit here and say like, oh, it's not a debate, it's Damar Hamlin, I think is wrong. I think Damar Hamlin does win. You have the factor of Alex Smith shattered his leg and almost died and came back and played like a couple snaps for the Commanders a while ago, or for the football team, I think they were still called, and won Comeback Player of the Year. So I think it's going to be Damar Hamlin. In my heart, I think it should be Baker Mayfield. Now, it could be a Baker Mayfield bias. I would absolutely take that, and I wouldn't be mad at you for assuming, because I've always liked Baker. Ever since he was getting trashed coming out of Oklahoma and getting drafted number 1, I've always rooted for the guy. So it could be a Baker Mayfield bias, but I get it. I get why Damar Hamlin is going to win Comeback Player of the Year. I get it. And all the talk around it is going to be so annoying. Now, the only time I really thought the Damar Hamlin stuff got real wild, and this isn't really relevant to the Comeback Player of the Year, do you remember a Buffalo Bills game? It was a primetime game. I think it was like Monday night. And some dude had to be put in an ambulance on the field. And the ambulance was decked out in Damar Hamlin stuff. Like his name was on it. The 3s were in the windows. And every 5 seconds they would flash to Damar Hamlin. Do you know how disrespectful that is? So honestly, he should just win Comeback Player of the Year for that, because oh my God, how tasteless and disrespectful that is. Hey, do you remember? This guy almost died on the field. Do you remember that? Look at him. Look at his face. Look at his face as he's having flashbacks. Look at him. Jesus, man. So, let's talk Coach of the Year. Now, Coach of the Year is really, a lot of people want to say it's a 3-man race. I think it's more of a 2-man race. I don't think Dan Campbell really, because everybody was expecting what the Lions did. The Lions didn't really shock anybody, right? Everybody thought that they'd win the NFC North, and they did. Everybody thought they'd make a deep playoff run, and they did. So there's no real shock, there's no real oomph with the Lions this season. What there is shock with, and what there's a little oomph in terms of Coach of the Year, is with Kevin Stefanski and DeMeco Ryans. Kevin Stefanski coaching the Browns to a playoff appearance despite going through happy endings, DTR, Joe Flacco, and I believe, was it P.J. Walker? I think P.J. Walker started a couple games. 4 different quarterbacks, and was in contention for the AFC North title and made the playoffs. That's incredible. But I think that what DeMeco Ryans has done has been more incredible. DeMeco Ryans took the Houston Texans, who were one play away from being the worst team in the league, debatably the worst team in the league, depending on how you felt about the Bears last season, especially with how the Bears finished last season with Justin Fields really turning it up. But he took that team and won the AFC South. Of course, had to have a little help, but they won the AFC South, made the playoffs, got a playoff win. DeMeco Ryans took this team and has built a tremendous culture and has a very young, hungry team that is going to be good for a while. I think DeMeco Ryans wins Coach of the Year. I believe not only that, but I believe Kevin Stefanski has won it one time back when the Browns got their first playoff win in like 30 years. I think Kevin Stefanski won it then. I think that was like 2020, 2019, 2020, around there. So DeMeco Ryans, Coach of the Year to me. Let's talk about the rookies. Let's go over Offensive Rookie of the Year. And Offensive Rookie of the Year is a two-man race between one C.J. Stroud, one Puka Nacua. I have Puka Nacua winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. Why do I have Puka Nacua winning Offensive Rookie of the Year? Well, because C.J. Stroud did phenomenal things. Broke a couple of rookie records, right? Was in MVP talks for a couple of weeks. So you could absolutely give C.J. Stroud Rookie of the Year. I wouldn't be upset. But Puka Nacua revitalized that Rams offense, right? That Rams offense would not be anywhere near as dynamic as it was without Puka Nacua. Now, Kyron Williams added a much needed run game that Cam Akers just wasn't giving the Rams. But Puka Nacua added a second receiving threat, not only a second receiving threat, but a very, very, very dynamic receiving threat alongside Cooper Kupp. Made that offense so much better than it would have been without him. And of course, you can say the same thing about C.J. Stroud, but Puka Nacua broke several rookie receiving records. It's a coin flip for me, honestly. But I think Puka Nacua should win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Now, Defensive Rookie of the Year. I really like Devin Witherspoon, right? Like I said, this race, you can make a case for Devin Witherspoon. You can make a case for Kobe Turner, Jalen Carter, Will Anderson Jr. You can make a case for all these guys. But I have Kobe Turner winning Defensive Rookie of the Year. Just for the sheer fact that he revitalized, just like Puka Nacua did for the Rams offense, Kobe Turner revitalized the Rams pass rush. When Von Miller left after the Super Bowl year, everybody was just, that Rams defensive line, that Rams pass rush, it was on the downturn. It was going down, and it was going down very fast. Then Kobe Turner comes in and brings much-needed help to Aaron Donald. So did that other rookie that they drafted. Can't remember his name right now, but the one that they also drafted on the defensive line. But Kobe Turner really killed it this season. Really killed it. Really revitalized that defensive line for the Los Angeles Rams. Made it a scary pass rush once again. And in terms of like Devin Witherspoon, he played great. Don't get me wrong. But he was also just another piece, in my opinion, another great piece in that secondary. Jalen Carter played great, but also, I mean, that defensive line was already loaded and stacked and tremendous. Will Anderson Jr., you could really say the same thing about him that I said about Kobe Turner. So him as a runner-up, I wouldn't mind, but I think Kobe Turner should win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Do I think it should be like outright and obvious? No. Like I said, you can make a case for any one of those guys, but I think Kobe Turner should come out with it. So let's talk about the offensive and defensive players of the year, and let's talk about offensive first. Now, the two guys that I alluded to that have a case for Offensive Player of the Year is Christian McCaffrey and Tyreek Hill. And I'm giving the award to Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey was the motor that ran that 49ers offense. He also had 21 total touchdowns, 5.4 yards per carry, which is stupid. And with the volume he had, 5.4 yards per carry is ridiculous. And also 2,023 total yards from scrimmage. However, I believe around 1,400 on the ground and over 500. Over 1,400 on the ground, over 500 receiving. The motor that ran that San Francisco offense, he should absolutely be Offensive Player of the Year. I would see Tyreek if he led the league in a couple things, but I don't think he did. If he led the league in a couple things, and sure, he was, the main weapon for that Miami Dolphins offense, but CMC did it all. CMC ran the ball very effectively and very well. He also caught the ball very effectively and very well. Like I said, the motor that ran the 49ers offense, I think it should go to CMC. Defensive Player of the Year, like I said, like I alluded to, TJ Watt, Max Crosby, and Myles Garrett all have very, very, very good cases to make for them being Defensive Player of the Year. And this is what I think. I think that it's going to come down to TJ Watt and Max Crosby. I think that TJ Watt pulls it out. Now, you will see a lot of guys talking about how Max Crosby was the best run-stopping end in the league. And absolutely, he was. I believe he's first in every major category. But, you know what's more important? Pass rush. And Max Crosby, while still being a dominant pass rusher, was 10th in pretty much every major category when it comes to pass rushing. TJ Watt was the best pass rusher in the NFL. You could make a case for Myles Garrett. I'm not saying you can't. But TJ Watt was and is the best pass rusher in the NFL, point blank period. And he is no slouch when it comes to the run game, and he's no slouch when it comes to dropping in coverage. Does he get burned a couple times? Absolutely. But he's no slouch when it comes to it. Do I think that a factor will play in when in terms of, TJ's already won one? I believe he might have two already. No, he doesn't have two already, but he definitely does have a Defensive Player of the Year. Do I think that will come into it and people wanting to give Max Crosby or Myles Garrett it? Sure. I've wanted Myles Garrett. I've predicted Myles Garrett to win Defensive Player of the Year for the past 3 years before the season started. I believe ever since my TikTok started and I've come out with those award predictions, I've wanted Myles Garrett to get one because Myles Garrett is so good. He's so good. And I love Max Crosby. And Max Crosby could definitely win it. But in my opinion, the best defensive player on the field this season was TJ Watt, point blank period. So I'm giving the Defensive Player of the Year to TJ Watt. MVP, the big award, the quarterback award. MVP race is between two guys. It's between Lamar Jackson and it's between Josh Allen. Now, a lot of people, well, if you want to throw in Christian McCaffrey or whoever, I think you can, but I don't think there's a realistic chance of them winning. I think it's realistic for either Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson to win. I have Lamar Jackson winning MVP. I don't think it's that much of a debate. Lamar Jackson, as always, was pretty much that entire Baltimore Ravens offense. He was so good. He showed up in massive games. You can't say the same about Josh Allen every single time. Of course, AFC Championship waters it down a little bit, but this is a regular season award. And against the 49ers, against everybody they played that was massive teams, that offense was so well. Even missing the number one option for years in Mark Andrews, that offense was so dynamic and so good, and it was because of Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is MVP. You could make a case for Josh Allen. Josh Allen put up stupid numbers this year. He turned the ball over a lot, but I can't really say anything because I'm a big Brett Favre defender, not as a person, as a player. But and Josh Allen just was putting up stupid numbers. But I think in terms of showing up more, I think in terms of being more dynamic, I think Lamar Jackson edges Josh Allen in the MVP race. So, in total, to go over it, my MVP is Lamar Jackson. My Offensive Player of the Year is Christian McCaffrey. My Defensive Player of the Year is T.J. Watt. My Offensive Rookie of the Year is Puka Nacua. My Defensive Rookie of the Year is Kobe Turner. Coach of the Year, D'Amico Ryans. And Comeback Player of the Year is Damar Hamlin. With every runner-up being Josh Allen for MVP, Tyreek Hill for Offensive Player of the Year, Max Crosby for Defensive Player of the Year, C.J. Stroud for Offensive Rookie of the Year, Devin Witherspoon for Defensive Rookie of the Year, Kevin Stefanski for Coach of the Year, and Comeback Player of the Year. Runner-up is Baker Mayfield. Now let's talk about this Sunday. Who's hyped up for it? Whose house? Our house. Super Bowl, is it 57 or 58? I'm dumb when it comes to Roman numerals. It could be either or. But the San Francisco 49ers are taking on the Kansas City Chiefs in this Super Bowl in Las Vegas, in Allegiant Stadium. And I'm excited. I'm excited. A lot of people want to say, oh, we don't want to watch the Super Bowl. They don't watch it. I'm cool. Even though it had one of the, I think, record-breaking opening day. Like 23,000 people showed up for the opening media day. But sure, nobody wanted to watch it. What's the key in these Super Bowls? What is the key? The 49ers defense. That is the key. Shocker, right? 49ers defense. The 49ers offense is not going to score a lot. The Kansas City Chiefs have shown that they don't let people score. Don't let people score. Don't let people score a lot. The closest they got, or the most they let up, was 24 points to the Buffalo Bills. And that is a lot. But you also got to take in the fact that that was in Buffalo. Buffalo had kind of the advantage over there. But, man, that Chiefs defense is so good. And the thing about Brock Purdy, he kind of shook it off against the Lions. You got to keep that in mind. He kind of shook off the stigma against the Lions. But Brock Purdy gets rattled. Brock Purdy has a tendency to snowball. If Brock Purdy starts missing some throws, maybe throws an interception, it's not going to look good. Because, like I said, in the Lions game, he seemed to kind of get over it. Because in the Lions game, he made some bad throws in the first quarter. Bad throws, he threw an interception, and as the game progressed, he got better. Which is great to see. And that game might have given him the confidence to finally get over that hump. But the fact is still the fact. Brock Purdy snowballs if he starts playing bad. You've seen it in a couple different games this season. So the 49ers defense is very, very, very key. Can Nick Bosa get to Patrick Mahomes? Can Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw and that linebacking core, can they keep Isaiah Pacheco, Jerick McKinnon, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire at bay? Because, as I've said this entire playoff, and to prove my point, to back me up, go watch Brent Coleman's video on the Kansas City Chiefs offense a couple months ago. This Kansas City Chiefs offense goes through the run game. They are very, very good at running that football. Especially Isaiah Pacheco. He's very hard to tackle. And Jerick McKinnon and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, no slouches in that Kansas City offensive line. Phenomenal run blockers. Phenomenal run blockers. So the key is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs run game and the 49ers run defense. Which, if you've seen against the Packers, Aaron Jones was going stupid. Against the Lions, Jahmyr Gibbs was going stupid. In the first half, at least, right? So, it'll be very, very interesting to watch that. If the Chiefs win, it's not going to be because of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Well, some with Andy Reid. It's not going to be because of Patrick Mahomes. It's going to be how well are the Chiefs going to run the ball. And they're not going to go away from it. Andy Reid, that Chiefs offense is way too smart to go away from the run game. One and two more storylines that I'm really keeping track of. Kyle Shanahan, been in the Super Bowl twice as a coach. Once as an offensive coordinator with the Atlanta Falcons, gave up a 28-3 lead. Second, against the Chiefs a couple of years ago, gave up a 20-10 lead. So you got to think, 49ers fans got to be worried if the 49ers do go up. Are they going to be able to keep that lead? Is Kyle Shanahan finally going to get over that hump of choking in the Super Bowl? Not playing great in the Super Bowl. Well, as if Kyle Shanahan is on the field. But it's very interesting. And also, I love George Kittle. This is leading into the 49ers, a lot of their players, Nick Bosa, George Kittle, Fred Warner, Drake Greenlaw. I believe they still got Jimmy Ward back there. I could be thinking of the wrong Ward, but they still got Jimmy Ward back there. Couple guys on the defensive line. There are guys on this team that still remember losing to the Kansas City Chiefs. And if you go back, or Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl, and if you go back to that Super Bowl and go watch that mic'd up, there is one instance that I have kept bringing up the past 2 weeks where George Kittle is on the sideline after it is apparent that the 49ers are losing that Super Bowl. And he is swaying, and he is saying, I will be back here. I will be back here. You will not get the best of me. I will be back here. And the 49ers are back here. The 49ers are back in the Super Bowl. Not only are they back in the Super Bowl, they have a chance to right the wrong against the team who they lost to. I think that is such a tremendous story. And also, you got to keep up with, if the Chiefs win this Super Bowl, they are for sure now officially a dynasty. The Chiefs are not a dynasty. Let's have that little mini debate right here and right now. The Kansas City Chiefs are not a dynasty currently. They have 2 Super Bowls in 4 years. That's not a dynasty. Now, if they win this Super Bowl, that's 3-5, certified dynasty, right? You are not a dynasty until you win 3. You are not a dynasty if you win 2, 3. You want to say they are the AFC dynasty? Absolutely. They have been in every single AFC championship game for almost a decade. Sure, I'll give that to you. AFC dynasty? Absolutely. Not only have they been in almost every AFC championship game for a decade, they have hosted almost every single AFC championship game for over half a decade. I shouldn't say close to a decade because I think it's like 6-7 years now. But if the Chiefs win this, they are officially a certified dynasty. But in terms of if you ask Chiefs fans and players, they are already a dynasty. So is that really something that the Chiefs are looking for? Who do I think wins this game? I've been burned every single time because I picked the Bills to beat the Chiefs and I picked the Ravens to beat the Chiefs. And I got burned both times. Man, it's rough. It's very hard. It's going to be a very good game. But I want to see the 49ers pull this out. So I'm picking the 49ers to win Super Bowl 58. I think that, I think that the chip will be too big for the 49ers to ignore. I think it's going to be too big for the Chiefs to overcome. 49ers have a lot to prove, and I think it's kind of stupid going against the Chiefs, but I have the 49ers winning this in the realm of 17-14. It's not going to be a high-scoring Super Bowl. And a lot of people might come away with, oh, this is one of the most boring Super Bowls of all time just because it's, low scoring and those people can just go fuck themselves, in my opinion. But that's it. Let me know who y'all got winning the Super Bowl. Let me know who y'all got winning the awards. Tweet at me at JJester615. Tweet at the show's Twitter at Jackie Show. That is 2 S's, 1 little, 1 small. Follow me on TikTok. Post daily. Try to post 3, 4, 5 times a day. JackieBoySports. Email me questions, comments, concerns, whatever you want to do. OldJackieBoy1021 at gmail.com. That is OLE JackieBoy1021 at gmail.com. I much appreciate it. It's Super Bowl weekend, y'all. It's very fun. And for those of y'all who might say, you didn't go over the press conference, yeah, I'll make a couple videos about it when it comes out. But yeah, and y'all might be wondering if I made Hall of Fame predictions. That was on Monday's show, so go check that out. Rumors are that Devin Hester has made it into the Hall of Fame, and you don't know how much I'm going to celebrate if that is true. But like I said, make sure you like, rate, and share, especially rate and sharing. It really, really helps me out. And I will see y'all on Monday to go over the Super Bowl. Peace.